Greetings, viewers. Once again, Brian J.T. Watts here with another episode of Come Together. Today's episode is special as usual. I got an old friend of mine coming on, and we're going to have a lot to talk about. He's doing a lot of different things in the community, but we're really going to focus on some things with our young people today. So join us after the intro, and I'll see you then.
This is the greatest game of telephone that has ever been played. Someone said the black man doesn't raise his kids or care for his family, and that message is still being told to everyone today. They even have us saying,
"We are not a monolith. We have various opinions and thoughts. We are much more than what we are portrayed to be by the media.
even when we are the victims of injustice, we are still portrayed as the perpetrators. When it comes to the black man, there is an intentional plan to discredit the past, arrest the present, and destroy the future.
Something must be done, but nothing will work until we come together.
Afternoon, viewers. We are here again today with Come Together with my friend Fred Parker. Fred is a husband, a dad, a barber, an educator, a business owner. I'm not going to tell you too much though, because I'm going to let him tell you about himself. But how's it going today, Fred?
Hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to be on here.
You too, man. You too. It's been a little while. It's been a while. So I want you to just let the viewers know who you are and exactly what you're doing with your life right now.
Well, as you said, my name is Fred Parker. Brian and I go back many moons. Wow. Too many to count. And that's a good thing. We've had a lot of experiences in life together. But as for myself, I am the owner and operator of the One Elite Security Services, LLC. I've had the company for 7 years here in Louisville, Kentucky, where I have been for 23 years. It is a security company that specializes in executive protection, bodyguarding, and private events. I also do consulting, and I work privately with training churches and businesses and helping them start up their security teams for safety. So that's what I do on the side. That's my side hustle. I decided to start that company on the side, and it's been just growing ever so well over the years. But I work for the Board of Education as my bread and butter. But I'm in the security department there as well. In fact, this year starts my first year in August as a security and safety administrator, a new position that just started. So it'll be all new to me. I don't even know what that job is going to entail for the most part, but because of my credentials with my company, it was pretty easy getting that position.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, that's always great when, like they used to say on the A team, I love it when a plan comes together. I mean,
oh yeah,
that to tie two things together. I remember my mom used to always say to me when I had these little crazy part-time jobs, she's like, one day you're gonna get one job that's gonna tie all that stuff together.
For sure.
And, you know, it happens when you watch out and you do what you're supposed to do. It all comes together. So that's good. I'm glad that that's working out, because in education there doesn't always seem to be a lot of opportunity for us to bring in things from the outside.
True.
And that's something that's big. And out there in Louisville, I can't help but remember a time when I was out there with you, and it was right in the height of when it seemed that black men were just getting killed by police on the regular. I was riding with you, and I don't remember who had the car right before we did, but we ran out of gas.
That would be my wife.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it. But so we ran out of gas on the highway, right near, not far from the Yum Center.
No.
And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm not getting out this car. And you were like, no, we got to walk to the gas station. So we got out and we started walking. And I remember the cops pulled up to us. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't show any fear, but in my mind, I was like, this is it. This is how I die. I'm gonna die with Parker. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it's going to be funny or it's going to be whatever, but because of how much it was happening then, it seemed like this was the perfect setup. And I remember the cop came, you told him that you were armed, and I didn't know you were armed. So I was like, oh, we're really about to die now. And, he said, okay, checked everything out on you, everything cleared. He put us in his car, drove us to the gas station, filled up our thing, got us back. That was the first time I ever rode in the back of a police car. I felt kind of crazy. And, he wished us well. He watched us get out. And I was like, yo, this, not that I thought all policemen were bad, but it was proof for me that they weren't. Not that I'm thought it, but just at that time, not even just the fact that he didn't do anything, the fact that he was so willing to help and whatever it was that we needed, And I was in Kentucky with my New York accent, and I was like, this is it. This is what happens to us brothers that don't belong out here in the South. So
Yeah.
It was good to have an experience, and I remember posting about it just to let people know. I mean, it's a hard life right now because our world seems to be full of people who want to generalize.
Mhm.
Everything that happens, it's everybody. A cop does something wrong, well, all cops do this. Man does something wrong, all men do this.
Mhm.
All black people do this, all white people do that, and it's a real problem. And I try to express, and I want to know what you think about this statement. I try to express to people that no group of people who are at the bottom of the caste system has ever risen to the top without help of some people at the top.
Mm.
So, I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think that that's true? I mean, because a lot of people act like, they're not going to take help from anybody else. We're just going to rise up somehow and become, on par with everybody else, and it's going to be a great day. So what do you think about that?
No, I believe with that 100%. I believe that all of the uprising that anyone has to go through, it is definitely by the help of someone pulling them. I do know and believe in the fact that folks should use as much as they can of their own to elevate.
Right.
But there comes a point where you run out of your ingredients, you run out of your steps, and
Right.
at that point, then you are to use whomever that you can to help you get up. I think that there are a lot of experiences, a lot of situations, a lot of people that have been able to get to where they are solely because of the help of somebody else. So I'm an advocate of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like with education or with any of us that was struggling from anything. In fact, the movement and the struggle is what draws the eyes of those other people.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're saying in America that white supremacy is holding black people down, then there are white people who love black people and who think white supremacy is wrong. I remember the first time I saw the Klan. I was about 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
I was actually in your town. I was in Louisville, Kentucky.
Again.
First time in my life. First time. I was very ignorant of Kentucky. I'll even share with my viewers, and viewers don't tell nobody this, how ignorant I was. I was in Nashville, and they told me I was a drum corps instructor. They asked me to come with this group to do a parade. And I said, where are we going? They said, Louisville. I said, oh, I got to go there. And nobody knew why I wanted to go. I'd never been there before. But I was staring out of the window of the van the whole way there. And people kept talking to me, and they was like, what's wrong with you? What are you staring at? And I was like, yo, I want to see the bluegrass. And they were like, what? And I was like, they told me I got bluegrass in Kentucky. I want to see it. As soon as we crossed the border, I want to see that joint. And they were like, Brian, it's not really blue. And I was like, I came on this trip for no reason. Like, I mean, I had no idea. I mean, nobody said to me, it's not blue. I thought it might even just be dark, really dark enough. And the grass was the same grass I saw everywhere else my whole life. And so I was like, okay, I'm here for nothing. So we do our parade, and we're down some main street, and all of a sudden the police come and push us off the street. They're like, you got to get out of the way. We're like, why are we stopping this parade? And we all get on the sidewalk, and we see cars come by with skinheads and and they had a bunch of, they're yelling and screaming and doing their thing. And then after a few cars, the skinheads were the Klan in full regalia. And I'm 25, 26 years old. I'm standing there and I'm in utter disbelief for a couple of reasons. One, I had no idea this still existed. After going to school in Alabama for years and college and stuff like that and never seeing anything like that, I was in shock. But the second thing that shocked me was the amount of white people on the side with signs saying no Klan and go home and all of this stuff to the Klan. And I was like, wow, that's not shown on the news programs. When I see the stuff when the dogs are being sicked on black people and stuff, they're not showing you that, there was white people that was like, look, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Not do that, So it was very amazing. I mean, people were standing beside me and they're like, yeah, this is wrong, right? And I'm looking at them like, okay, yeah, it is wrong. And so I was very educated in that moment on what was going on and how things were. And I'm really into the fact of educating our own and getting what we need. But I want to find a way to sort of bring people together to the point of realizing that we need each other. If your mindset can be a certain way, that's more important than sometimes what our race is. Just like me and you could have grown up as brothers, but we could have totally separate mindsets. Same mother, same father, and you could be on one path and I could be on a total other path. Our relation does not forge a relationship.
Sure.
So, when people say, oh, well, I want all black this and all black that, I get it because you want something for your people, but are we of the same mindset? So how is it in Kentucky? You're a business owner. You're in the education system. You're customer service like crazy because you're a barber, so you have people in and out. How is it there with relations right now, as far as race relations, with all the stuff that's been going on lately? How is it going there in Louisville?
Man, I tell you, Louisville has gone through some heavy transitions since you came that first time to the second time when you and I got picked up by the officer, till just 3 years ago to now. At the beginning of the pandemic, we ran across the racial unrest that our nation saw with the George Floyd, and then Breonna Taylor, which was here. I'm kind of connected to the Taylor family, not indirectly her boyfriend at the time that actually was the one accused of shooting the officer. His family and my family are actually very close. His mother and I, very close. And I spent a lot of time, kind of embedded in that and watching our state transition. It kind of showed who was where when that went down, because this city saw probably the first time a huge level of unrest, more than they've ever seen in previous years. Probably go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s was the last time they saw something that intense. I mean, they were burning Louisville down, closing down. We were on curfew. They were rioting everywhere. They were protesting everywhere. They were sending in folks from other cities and other states to cause more unrest. We had a bunch of just hearsay about different things. I went downtown quite a few times. I live on the outskirts of Louisville. So at that time, I was just about 15 minutes out. I live even 15 minutes further than that. So, but at that time, I was 15 minutes out. So in order for me to see what was going on, I had to kind of insert myself, which I did, because I wanted to see what was going on in my town. The news will tell you one thing, and they will definitely cover and hold up what they want to and give you what they want. So I decided to go down and see. I came across a lot of things that were really shocking to me. I saw a little of everything. I saw us coming together as a Black community. I saw us coming together as white folk supporting the Black community. That was really refreshing to see, because like you said, you're like, wow, for the first time you saw white folks standing right next to you saying, Clan, get out of here. You're like, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know white folks did that. I wasn't so shocked to see that, but I was happy to see, since then, you have the Black Lives Matter signs, you have the Be Kind signs that are going up, and you're seeing the whole communities that you're like, I didn't have any idea that you supported this movement of coming together on a positive thing and taking the color out. Let's go with what's right. Let's take the color out. So it got ugly there, and then it got ugly with the whole policing thing. They were like, defund the police and shut the police down because it was the police that did the raid of the home of Breonna Taylor. And there's so many different views regarding that. It was, it's so crazy because I was right in the middle of that, right? Figuratively and literally, that whole Breonna Taylor case. And so to see newscasters in New York, your home, play the narrative, and they were so wrong. Like they were completely, that the story was so skewed, they're just making up all kinds of things and painting the picture to make it look certain ways, either to paint the narrative to be supportive of the police or supportive of the Taylor family and situation. It was crazy because I was like, man, I cannot believe that this went on national news. Like that is on CNN right now, and they're saying that. And I'm like, there's not a lick of validity to that. So one of the things about that is that, the news paints whatever picture, whatever narrative that they want our nation to go, however they want us to go. That starts it right there. So the key component to making things go in a proper progression is do your own research.
Right.
Whatever it is. I was fortunate to be right in the middle of, the second most out of control scenario in the nation at that time. George Floyd was the first one. And so, those that were in that city at that time, they could tell you a whole lot different than what we saw. I was here in Louisville. That came just a month later, maybe 2 months later. And it caused, the world was shook by that. There were people holding up Breonna Taylor signs all the way in England, all the way in Australia, the other part of the world, they were down there. So it was a worldwide thing. And so being in the middle of it, I had to investigate. I had to go and see exactly and talk to, the family of Mr. Walker and the Taylor family and different things. I was embedded also because I had to do some protective things. Jesse Jackson came to town, so I had to help protect him and his crew when they came in to stand up for the Taylor family and the Walker family. There was a couple of marches that we had that needed some security. And so I participated in a few of those. And so when you're there in the middle of it, you kind of like, wow, this is a trip. But it was refreshing. It was very refreshing because I learned a lot about where I lived, what I'm saying? Because you think, wow, Deep South, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, horses, bluegrass, Klan.
Right.
And here's the thing. All three of those things really do exist here. The bluegrass actually is real. I'll just tell you that. But where that comes from is that it's a purple flower that comes in the grass. And when you look at it from a distance at an angle, it makes the purple and the green actually makes it look blue. But it has to be here.
They finally told me.
They finally told you that, yeah.
But I still have yet to see that. As I've been to Kentucky, I still haven't seen it. And I'm sure that Louisville is not probably the place to see it. I need to get out.
True. Lexington and out east and some of these other spots, that's where you're going to see it more. However, like I said, Klan horses, bluegrass, that stuff it's here. It's really here. And so it's funny because during that time, a friend of mine, he actually saw the Klan in full regalia come out. His son and they owned a lawn care company. They were cutting grass in a part of our town. And the dad was cutting 1 yard. The son was around the corner. He came flying over to the dad. And he was like, hey, there are some men on some horses with white hoods on. His dad was like, boy, that sounds like the Klan. Ain't no Klan out here on no horses. Sure enough, they were planning on doing a rally, a protest of their own, freedom of speech, and do their thing. And dad came around the corner. Sure enough, they were gathering up at a specific spot here in town to get ready to do their little march through. Didn't cause too much of a conflict. But again, the news painted a different picture. They're like, no, they didn't come through here. But I happen to know the guy. I can call him on my phone who saw it with his own eyes that day. You know what I'm saying? So they're still here, still doing their thing.
Wow. I mean, that's big because I mean, it's like a past thing for us. We have parents, my dad is from Alabama. So when I would talk to my dad, that was way back then. And there's not many things that was happening back then that are happening now. So, it was very weird to see that. I was told that right before Obama got elected, the membership in the Klan had gone down so low that people were like, okay, they're basically defunct. I mean, hardly anybody was in it. But as soon as he got elected, everybody joined back up. Like, it was skyrocket. And so I was like, okay, I see what it's about. It's strange for me, but I feel like I know what it is. One thing, and I say this as simply as I can, one thing that Donald Trump did as president was let everybody know that racism is alive and well, and that all you need do is pick a few people and they can get their racism back on. I mean, it seems like everybody just began to say whatever they wanted and however they felt. And I'm sure you saw it as well. You'd see people on Facebook debating, and for the first time, it wasn't a debate of, oh, we're going to agree to disagree. It was like, yo, don't talk to me no more. And because it wasn't about, do you have this opinion? It was, do you think I'm equal to you? Or do you think we should have rights and all of these things? And it was insane. I think that a lot of people don't realize, they talk about how jaded the media is now. The media has always had a spin.
Sure.
However, before the internet, it was hard for us to know the truth. Because you didn't have these underground people that were so popular that would tell you what was going on. You couldn't get online and see maybe you with people from the family speaking on YouTube and saying, what exactly happened and this, that, and the other. So we were basically shut out, and the people just reported what wanted to be reported. I mean, I grew up in the South Bronx. I remember hearing gunshots, looking out the window, and I see a guy dead on the sidewalk. And I remember my sister and I sitting there watching for hours. People crowded around. Nothing. The cops came. The cops left. The guy's still laying there. I'm talking to my mom like, what's going on? What's going to happen to this guy? She says they have to wait for the coroner. He pronounces people dead. I was like, Mom, he's obviously dead. She said, no, he has to be pronounced dead. So I'm like, okay, cool. Not knowing there was one coroner for the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island. Okay. Wow. So this guy had to come from wherever he was.
Right.
He had to stop for. Get there. He gets there late at night. He pronounces the guy dead, take him away. And I watch the news forever and I never see it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I realized then was, one, I live in the ghetto. Two, the news does not report stuff in the ghetto unless it's huge. So the death of a man in the ghetto is what happens in the ghetto, as far as I'm concerned. So there was no story. And I had to start realizing that, that's what happened. So it's weird because I think that as Black people right now, we are still, how can I say this best? We're still at the behest of our government and their indoctrination. Even those of us who fight as activists and fight for rights, I think that a lot of us are still somewhat indoctrinated to the point of white is right when it comes to white supremacy, because there's so many things that we still have to lean on. And I think there are so many people who have tried to get us into a mindset of our own, but we have become extremely comfortable. A lot of us, when we were in college, we worked hard. We did what we had to do. We struggled. We got our little bit of money, our house, our car, our this, that, and the other. How many of our friends are going to leave that alone to fight for something that they didn't even see working, back then? We fought for the American dream, the part of it that we were allowed to have.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of us want to do that. So what is it going to take, in your opinion, coming from Louisville, Kentucky, being out there in the middle of all kind of craziness, being in the middle of the whole Breonna Taylor thing and seeing how that all went down and how it was resolved or not resolved? What is it going to take for us to finally stand on equal ground with the other people of this country?
That's a really good question, because one would say, "Oh, a Black president,"
Right. Right.
Been there and did that 8 years.
Right.
And it didn't make that much of a change, you know. And then, a female Black vice president. And here we are. Not much has changed. In 2022, we're sitting here and it's not much different at all. Obviously it's not the leadership. It's not there. I think the number one thing is a real true desire within. And it starts with everybody. It's a personal thing. I have to want to make a difference, and I have to be around those that want to make that same difference. And then we have to start working together to kind of make it grow. That's honestly how anything starts, you know, any fraternities, bike clubs, readers clubs. That one person says, you know what, I want to start this, and I got to go find everyone who's like-minded, and let's do it. And then it'll grow. And I think that's where it's at. And unfortunately, we're in a tide right now that there are not a lot of people that you can find like-minded with you on that. The hardest thing that I'm seeing right now is that we are allowing our narratives to be created by someone else. People are allowing themselves to be fully led by others' opinions. And this social media is a monster. All right, social media and all the stuff that's going on screens, whether it be our telephone, our internet, our laptop, our big screens. It's something else, because the narratives that are being painted are fighting against what you're asking right now. Totally against it. Everything is fighting against it. Gay rights and Roe versus Wade and abortions and blacks and interracial marriage and this, and you know what I'm saying? And Black leadership and just whatever. And every time you look up, while they're claiming they're working for it, you're always seeing some underlying something that's saying it's that subliminal message that's the one, that hits you when you're asleep or when you're down in the car, down the road on your way to the beach on vacation. You're like, why did I feel that way about such and such? So we're fighting against a lot that it makes it so much harder than it was 20 years ago. If we really wanted to make a change 20 years ago, 30 years ago when we were in school, I think we would have had a better chance, because we didn't have all that crap out there. Like you were saying, we didn't have no internet, we didn't have no Google, we didn't have no Facebook. Facebook and Instagram and TikTok alone killing us.
I mean, you know what? I've often said this, and it sounds crazy when I say this, but I believe it's true. One of the things that the internet did was it allowed everybody to talk, and everybody is not supposed to be talking. Okay, that there are times when you have a certain topic. So let's say we went back to our alma mater, right? And we had a big, like we used to do in the gym or in Moran Hall or whatever. We just had a big grouping of people from our age group, from our time, and we started to talk about different topics. If we were talking about music, there were certain people that you expected to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody couldn't just get up and say what they felt about music, because some people weren't musicians. Some people weren't singers. They didn't play anything. They didn't direct anything. They had no dog in that fight.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't talk. You might have an opinion.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
You might have an opinion.
Yeah.
Your opinion probably wasn't a learned opinion.
Yeah.
So, sit down. When it came to education, you might see people like me who were tutoring even when I was in college. So, okay, let Brian talk about that, or let so-and-so talk, or this, that, and the other. And people would talk about theology. You wouldn't call me and you, even though we were in church at the time, but we weren't theologians. You know what I'm saying? We had friends who were trying to be, like y'all talk, the people who are already about to graduate now. Nursing, same thing. But now, online, it does not matter who you are. You get to say whatever you want. And if you can produce a better video, you're the one who people hear the most.
That's correct.
And you have no information, no knowledge, nothing. There's nothing that validates you. I'm just shocked at how easy that happens. I got in an argument on Facebook, which I've stopped doing, but this is a while ago. There's a girl who I helped through her math class. So she reviews me as this math god. So every time somebody puts up a question, It was one of these questions with the order of operations. She's like, Brian, what's the answer to this? And she'll tag me. So I put the answer because I'm a math teacher, and I put it down. And this guy said, that's not the answer. It's this, that, and the other. And I said, young man, I'm not going to argue with you. This is the answer.
This is what I do.
And I explained it. And I'm going to tell you that one of the things that I hate to do, because I think that it's counterproductive, just like in my classroom, I never say, listen to me, I'm the teacher. Because if I have to say it, then I'm probably not. No, you know, if I think you don't know I'm the teacher, then it's a problem. So I'm not going to say to this guy, I'm a math teacher. So I said, this is the way it goes, and this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the order of operations. This is what it is. And he goes, no, that's not true anymore. And I said, anymore? So you're telling me they've changed math? Yeah, I could show you a bunch of videos on YouTube. And I could show you a bunch of videos that say it's this way. I would say that you probably want to listen to me. I'm not going to put up my credentials and stuff, but dude, this is what it is. So you can do it your way, but you're going to get it wrong. And that's the same way I speak to my students. They say, Mr. Watts, I ain't doing it your way. This is not my way. This is the way of math. You know what I'm saying? So there are people who have told kids, and kids today take everything literally.
Absolutely.
So when somebody says, don't you let nobody tell you what to do, then the kids come to school like, you're not going to tell me what to do. And I'm like, no, I am going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Pass this class. I mean, but if you want to get it wrong, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can have that. And so now we don't even have a bunch of young people who have all the energy and vigor to fight, because everybody has their own truth now. And everybody's like, no, well, this is how I feel. And yikes, that's kind of scary, because even though I had my opinions as a young person, I knew when it was time for us to fight for our rights for something, and it was like, yo, you got to get out there, because they're taking them away. And right now, like you mentioned, Roe versus Wade, that's been overturned, right? Which is insane. People thought that would never happen. 50 years of Roe versus Wade, and now it's over. And they're saying next is coming up affirmative action and all of these other things. What is going to happen if this is the trend that we are now overturning amendments?
Yeah. How wild is that? When amendments were supposed to be designed to be everlasting.
Right. Right. So, and now you fill the Supreme Court with people who are just like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's a problem, and I don't think that we're ready, because there has not been a revolt on anything that has happened since the last big thing I saw was probably, I don't know, was Rodney King the biggest one so far since we've been around?
In our time, Rodney King was probably one of the biggest, yeah.
And so, and that was central. That was what, South Central LA?
South Central LA, yeah.
I mean,
92.
I would definitely ask you this question as a Black man. How do you feel about this? I keep hearing people say, "Oh, well, we need peaceful protest," and some people saying, "Well, you know, we need to take them strong. We need to arm ourselves and do this and be ready to fight." You got people quoting James Brown that, you know, I'd rather die than live on my knees and all kind of stuff. So where are you when it comes to all of that? Where do you align yourselves?
I'm an advocate of definitely fight for what you believe for, okay? No matter what that is.
So literally fight.
Absolutely. If it comes down to it, to physically fight, absolutely. If you are figuratively fighting, if you are verbally, absolutely, whatever it is. But I'm an advocate of fighting for what you believe in, no matter what that is, okay? And part of my professionalism and what I teach and work with folks doing, I advocate that, and I help them. I teach people to fight for stand up for what they believe in. You know, that's what I do. So I'm 100% for that, you know, and in this particular case, as a Black man, then obviously, you know what I'm gonna fight for, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to it, yeah, I'm going to be there holding down my ground, holding down my people, holding down my family for what I believe in. Because I think the time is going to come. And what is that going to look like? I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, so for me, I've heard a lot of people say that, nothing comes from violence. And I think that's a wrong statement. A lot of stuff comes from violence. A whole lot, negative and positive.
Negative and positive, yeah.
I have looked through history, and I'm not saying I'm a big history buff, but I have yet to see a group of people who are enslaved or who are being demeaned move up the totem pole, so to speak, from peace.
Yeah.
It is always going to be bloodshed and violence for them to get that, because somebody at the top is being made rich by them being down there. Okay. It seems that our American system, people don't realize America was a brand new country. Okay. They introduced slavery to get their crops and all this stuff done. So there's 100% profit now. Okay. Well, not 100%. You had to purchase the black people, but you understand what I'm saying? They're not paying for any labor. So quickly, America becomes a world power, not because they're better than anybody else, but because they're not paying for anything. It's almost like you're stealing everything, and now you have the money to fund your army, to fund somebody else's army, to do whatever anybody else wants, because now you're rich. Your nation is rich in goods, in sugarcane, cotton, tobacco, blue indigo, all of these rice, and whatever it is, you have it. You have land, you have people working it, and you're not paying for anything. So yes, you can become this world power. So for America to become a world power that quick was insane. But the thing is, they still push the same narrative. There are people in jail working jobs that could probably pay $20, $30 an hour, and they're making 2 cents.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So the slavery is still there. There's a reason why crack was getting more years than cocaine.
Yeah.
Because crack was in our community and cocaine was in theirs. And so, it's amazing. And this whole meth thing now, I see drugs being treated so delicately before, but methamphetamines was not a Negro issue, to put it that way. So now, we feel so sorry for these people. And like my man Dave Chappelle said, I mean, I'm gonna tell you like you told us, just say no. You know what I mean? What's the problem? It's kind of weird how these things happen on both sides, and you see the disparity. You see how different it is when it's happening in your community. I've been hearing rock songs where people talk about all kind of violence and concerts, people biting heads off of bats and praising Satan and doing all kind of stuff. Yet, gangster rap is the worst thing on the planet. Because, of how it talks about women. And I'm like, have you listened to some rock songs? Because they're pretty bad. So I think that there's a lot of education that needs to happen, not just at the bottom level, because coming from the ghetto, the projects in South Bronx, which was the poorest part of the Bronx, which is the part of New York City that most people do not visit when they go to. And every time they depicted poverty, they was right there on my block, which is a little embarrassing. But we are not the ones who need to be as educated on what's going on.
No. The upper echelon is quite uneducated.
Exactly.
You'll see them speak.
Right. There's parts missing, and there's parts they're missing. Most people that live in ghettos, other places in the country, need to be educated on what's going on at the top, and the top needs to be educated on what's going on at the bottom. The only difference for us in the Bronx was if I took the train to Manhattan, I would sit next to somebody with a Brooks Brothers suit on and some wingtips, and I would see success. And I would know, this is the situation I'm in. I don't have to stay in. This dude is sitting right next to me. He paid the same thing to get on here as I did. You know what I'm saying? He's no better than me. He just got more money. So I get to go down to Wall Street and check it out and see what I need to do to get ahead. But there are a lot of kids who live in poverty, and their school is in poverty, their church is in poverty, the store is in poverty, and that's all they see, poverty all day, And when we saw in Huntsville, there are parts of Huntsville where it was just abject poverty. And these kids didn't know nothing about even the other side of Huntsville, much less the rest of Alabama. So I
Yeah.
think that there's somehow we need to get something that shows people that poor and black are not synonymous.
Right.
But that also shows those in higher levels that there is still an issue somewhere, because a lot of people think, I've talked to people who are well off that are black, they really think, hey man, this is a falsehood. I mean, nobody's doing nothing to hold you down. I'm like, there are some things that are still institutionalized that are holding people down.
For sure.
Because they've surpassed it to a certain level, they don't know or they don't realize that it's still going on. And so it's easier for them to shun poor black people than it is for them to help out. And I hear all the time of people saying, well, I struggled, so you need to struggle too. I don't think struggle is the key. I think that if you struggle to get something, there's somebody who you can lift up. Don't just lift up anybody.
Yeah.
Lift up somebody who's going to do something, who's showing you that they're willing to work and stuff. So I mean,
part of the thing about struggling is, if you have gone through it, learned, surpassed,
right.
Part of that is seeing if you can help someone bypass that.
Right. Exactly. That's
if I can get you where I am and you don't have to go the route that I went, then take this, brother, and roll with me. You know what I'm saying?
That's supposed to be a mindset. So like when we were in college, there was a bunch of y'all guys that used to hang out at the house and stuff. And I was maybe 2 or 3 years older than most of y'all. So my goal was, y'all don't do dumb stuff, man. Just chill. You know what I'm saying? as a big brother. Now, was I still doing some dumb stuff? Yes. Yeah. But was I doing every dumb thing? No. And some things I was like, I did that. Don't do that. You know, and I was always trying to share with y'all, or at least there's a lot of conversations that happened on that couch with you and my brother and Nigel and Brian, just a whole bunch of us. There's a lot of conversations that happened on that couch where I'd be like, listen, you might want to chill. And not because I was better, I was just older, and I was like, listen, I did that, dude. Chill out. That's not going to work. Or that's
don't pack your stuff.
Exactly. So I think that's how the thing that I loved the most was being around older black men, because I never wanted to be the smartest person in the room. I wanted to learn. And so when I was around y'all, I was like, well, now I guess that's my responsibility as the older guy. But I wanted to keep going to talk to older guys so I could come back, and have some knowledge. And that's what I felt like life was. But there's so many people now who don't want to sit at the feet of elders. There's so many kids who don't want to hear anything you got to say because you have no idea what they're going through. And I'm like, I have an idea. I didn't have a computer or a phone when I was your age. And they're like, why not? I'm like, because there was no such thing as that. But, well,
a lot of that is about the entitlement, though, that society teaches.
Right. But when you have entitled poor kids, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So kid is an anomaly to me. I'm just like, what
how does that even work? Right.
Exactly. And it's weird. So nowadays our youth are so far away from where we were when I was in high school. And I know I went to a specialized high school, so this probably didn't happen in every school. But if I cut class and I got caught, I failed for that marking period. They were like, dude, you cut. You know better than that. Now, I would walk out of my classroom and a kid will say, hey, Mr. Watts, and still not come to my class. And why did you speak to me? You know what? You're not even trying to hide. Like,
because what are you going to do?
Right. I'm not. I mean, what I'm going to do, call your mother? She knows I'm cutting class. So, there are kids that I haven't seen all year, and I thought, no, they must have dropped out of school. And then I'll see them, and I'm like, hey, what's up? I thought you didn't go to school here. Oh, no, I just don't come to your class. Oh, okay, cool.
I bet, yeah.
It's common now, and I think that we have allowed our kids, and it's our fault, it's our generation's fault, because we did this to them. We've allowed them to become comfortable and to be expressive. And that phrase of, well, at least he's being honest, that doesn't mean nothing to me. I don't want that. I don't want that for our kids, because they are being honest. Yeah, I don't come to your class. So what? That's not what I want to hear. I want you to get something. So we're raising a bunch of kids that now will just fight against us instead of fighting against the powers that be. So where will that leave us? And how do we turn that around? I mean, what's the what's the secret now to make these young people realize you're being duped?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's a lot. I know you have a child, and I know you probably have instilled different things in her, but she's probably one in a million. You know what I'm saying?
I have two children, and let me tell you what's a blessing. You know, my son's 28, and
Oh, right.
and he often talks to me about the things that were going over over his head.
Right.
And here, when I was talking to him, but now he's like, I chose to ignore, I chose to battle them, but they still went in and got embedded in my head.
Right.
Now I'm using them as an adult, and I'm like, I cannot believe how much the things that I chose not to listen to, I have to use right now to make it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that this generation is getting further and further from that. Right. Where now, when it really goes in one ear out the other, it didn't even process. It didn't even stop and get caught on any hairs inside the head. It just said, woof, just a straight breeze, you know? But yeah, I am blessed in having an anomaly set of children that were able to pick up and are able to pick up, and I instill in them, you know, what our parents instilled in us. I find myself all the time telling my kids, in my day, you know, that same thing that your dad just said to you, and you, nah, please, man, y'all was not walking to school, and y'all did not have to, you know, all ride in one car because gas is too expensive. Because gas is $5, you know, a gallon right now. Right. Yes, but when it was 75 cents a gallon when I was in college, right. That was still too much.
Cents an hour, so
right, that was too much. You know what I'm saying? But it's really crazy just looking at myself as that adult, as that parent, trying to say, this is how things used to be. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to go through that. So just try to do this instead. Try to do that instead. I can't believe I'm here right now. You know what I'm saying? 48 years old. I'm here right now doing that and watching my kids say, shut up. You know what I'm saying? That scares me because they have nothing. They have nothing to hold on to. They're teaching them entitlement. They're teaching them that, you know, second place is as good as first place. They teach them that third and fourth and fifth, or there's no place at all. Now you just show up and you worked as hard as the person who actually trained and worked hardest for first place. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an advocate of that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
competitors. Even those of us who weren't competitive are more competitive than the kids now. You
absolutely.
Absolutely. Because I never considered myself competitive. I mean, I wasn't in sports and stuff unless I was out there playing with somebody, but educationally, academically, I was competitive, you know, and I did my thing. But now kids, they're just looking at me like I'm teaching algebra 2 to kids, and they're just, what do you want me to do?
Right.
What do you mean? And they're looking at me like that's just too much, and I'm just not gonna do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. So what do you want to do then? I mean, and I love it when the kids say, hey, could we have a free day to do what? We could just talk. I don't chill with teenagers. I don't do that. I don't. You know, I have no reason to want to talk to you about your life. I want to talk to you about math, and let's stay on that, and we'll be safe. You know, because I'm not trying to get in trouble. I'm not trying to hear nothing I'm not supposed to hear.
Right.
I don't want to get into no discussions that are way too much for me. Forget y'all, but for me.
Yeah. So some joke that I have to report because I heard it. Oh my God, I just heard. Yeah. So I got to take this to the office.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think that there's an understanding, and the sad part is that even the smartest of our kids are now way below their own level because as long as they're ahead of the other kids, they feel good. And I understand that comparison. You're like, well, I'm smarter than them, Mr. Watts. I'm like, yeah, but that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot. I think that we need to, for the pun of the name of the show, but we need to come together to sort of be, put it this way, I'll compare it to something from our day. You remember when Sinbad used to have these old school concerts? And he would put together groups that you ain't heard for forever. I mean, like groups like Climax, he'd put back together, and Kool and the Gang, he got JT singing lead again, or whatever. You know, he used to do them on islands and stuff, and they were big on TV.
Yeah.
I want to do that with a bunch of us educators and speakers and stuff like that, and just bring old school life, and travel to school and talk to kids and adults because, I mean, obviously there's a disconnect somewhere, and let people know what's going on, because our system is failing us. And if we die out, our kids are lost. I mean, you know, most of us, you know, if we didn't listen to our parents, we, like you said, we caught on at some point, and your kids are catching on at some point. But some are not being taught at all, and some are never catching on.
Most, not even some, most right now.
Well, yeah, it's painful to say, but most are not catching on. So, I mean, when I had a kid in my class, after I stopped and gave them this motivational speech, which I try not to do, but it hurts sometimes. You just got to get out there. And this kid goes, "Hey, Mr. Watts, are you a motivational speaker?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you're good." I said, "Obviously not. Y'all not listening to nothing." He was like, "Oh, yeah, well, there's that." I'm like, so, I mean, and they're not even shocked. They're just like, we just are not, we hear you, and we know that you got something to say, but we're not going to do it. And, okay. And so, you know, you have a few kids that might come into class and be like, you know, but that's it. And it's not enough. So I think that for our people, we need something. And I definitely want all of you guys that have been on the show, the goal is to show positive Black men that are doing positive things, because they swear you're not out there. They swear you're out there smoking weed, playing video games, having kids and not taking care of them, you know, sexing a whole bunch of women and just being foul and living off the system or living off the sisters.
Bring McDonald's to one kid and not the stepkids.
Exactly. I'm not even getting into that because I have my own opinion of that, yeah. So it's problematic because they're making that seem like the norm, and it's not.
Yeah.
There's a statistic that can truly show that that's the norm for us, but because it's being said, it's out there. So thank you for sitting here and talking to me, man, and giving your opinion. All opinions are always welcome on the show. But I'm going to contact you, as I'm doing with the rest of the guys that have been on here in different episodes. And I really want to do something where we can, you know, start going out there and really getting into these kids, whether it's we're giving out school supplies and speaking and doing whatever it is, because something has to change. And somebody has to see us pushing for ourselves, or else there's not going to be any us, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's just going to be a problem. And we are dying off.
Yeah.
I'm hearing somebody I know pass weekly.
Yeah, that's a true story.
It's a problem. So we definitely need to do it. So Fred, thanks for coming out.
Appreciate you having me.
I would love for you to tell people, you know, about your, I don't know if you're still cutting hair, but your shop and your security company. Let them know how to get in touch with you if they want to have either of those services.
So you can reach me on IG, Instagram at the One Elite LLC, all one word.
Please spell the one, because they're not going to spell it right.
THEONE.
Oh, you changed it. Okay.
No, for my company, it is THE. I had to take the A out to make it a little more proper. THEONE, ELITE LLC. That's on Instagram. You can find my business there. Find out what I do there. I'm on Facebook as the Fred, the last man on earth, Parker. A long story to that, but just I'm the only one that has that long name. You can find me on there as well. And my email, THAONE1172@gmail.com. And yeah, definitely look me up and check out some of the things I do. I definitely am. I'm trying to be out there, staying positive for my community, for my race, for my people. And I'm just trying to just give a good word to everybody that comes across my path, and through my hair cutting, through my security, through my school, everything that I do, through all my trainings and stuff. So yeah, come holler at me.
Definitely appreciate you for being a positive brother, man. And we'll get back in touch with you soon, man. All right.
Appreciate you having me on there, man. Good talking to you.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming out today and checking out Come Together. Hope that you continue to watch Come Together and support us. We're going to be trying to do a lot more things this year. Definitely trying to get out into the community as well. So if you have any ideas, please send them to us. Let us know what you think and what we can do if you want to help us mobilize and really get out into the community. Definitely send us that as well. Thank you so much for coming out, and I will see you again next week. Have a great one.